Hi everyone, thanks for joining us here on Fine Print. I'm Aisha Sindhu. Now, if you stop to refuel your vehicle today, you may have driven away with your wallet much lighter than you hoped. Fuel prices in India have shot through the roof, burning a hole in the common man's pocket. Petrol prices are at a 5-year high in the country and the highest since Prime Minister Modi's government took charge in 2014. Diesel prices also saw a spike across the country. Petrol prices have breached the 80 rupee mark in India's financial capital, Mumbai, where it is retailing for 82 rupees and 48 paisa per litre. In Bangalore, the revised price stood at a little under 76 rupees. So it's 74.4 rupees is how much you'll have to shell out for 1 litre of petrol when it comes to the capital, New Delhi. But the prices are highest after Mumbai in Chennai, where they stand at 77.19 rupees per litre. In the city of joy, Kolkata, petrol prices are bringing anything but joy. People there have to pay 77 rupees for 1 litre of petrol. Now, what's worse is that fuel prices could see a further hike sooner than you hoped. Experts believe that the prices could go up by another 4 rupees per litre in the coming week. One of the main reasons is the lack of price hikes over the past 3 weeks ahead of the elections in the southern Indian state of Karnataka. Add to that the sharp increase in global crude prices. There seems to be no respite in store for the common man. But why have fuel prices been increasing unabated? For one, the rupee is down 6% against the dollar so far this year. As of May 16th, it hit a 16-month low of 68.13. But the currency has recovered slightly since then. Global oil prices are also a concern. The cost of a barrel of crude oil is now inching towards $80, a level it hasn't seen since November 2014. The fuel prices were hiked right after Karnataka sealed the fate of the candidates in the fray in the recent election, following a 19-day hiatus. Now, experts believe that state-owned oil companies are under pressure to adjust prices so that they can go back to continuing to earn the margins that they were making before the election. The hike in fuel prices will hurt the common man in more ways than one. Not only will refueling become more expensive, other utilities will also end up costing more because it will have a direct impact on the inflation rate. Now, the current dispensation in India has come under severe criticism for charging high excise duty and additional taxes on fuel. It has raised excise duty 9 times between November 2014 and January 2016 to shore up finances as global oil prices fell. Now, the picture I've painted for you so far has been a bleak one, but why exactly do Indians end up paying more for petrol and diesel even when global crude prices take a hit? It's because in India there is no centralized tax on fuel. It differs from state to state. In fact, it's believed that Indians pay more than 100% tax on both petrol and diesel. Consumers in India are bracing for an expensive ride ahead. But what about other countries in the region? Now, here's a look at how India's neighbors fare when it comes to petrol prices. You may end up wanting to move after seeing these figures. In India, petrol is its most expensive in Mumbai, where you have to shell out more than 82 rupees for a litre. Second on the list is Bangladesh, but prices there don't even compare to Mumbai. A litre of petrol in Bangladesh will set you back by the equivalent of 68 Indian rupees. Nepal hiked petrol and diesel prices recently too, but they're still below the 70 rupee mark at about 66.69 rupees a litre. Pakistan, whose economy seems to be in shambles, is doing better when it comes to fuel prices too. Petrol costs about 50 Indian rupees a litre over there. But the cheapest petrol available in the subcontinent is in Sri Lanka, where you can get a litre of petrol for less than 50 Indian rupees. Now, WION's Dhaka Bureau Chief Saad Hamadi tells us about how Dhaka is handling the situation when it comes to rising prices of fuel. Take a look.
Petroleum prices in Bangladesh have been steady since April 2016. In fact, the state-run Petroleum Corporation had reduced the prices of petroleum products after experiencing progressive profits for 3 successive years. But the situation has changed since June last year. Escalating prices in the international market as a result of production cuts by some of the major oil exporters and political turmoil in the Middle East have suffered the Bangladesh Petroleum Corporation losses in the area of 10 crore takas every day. The Petroleum Corporation has proposed to the government to increase the prices of some of the petroleum products, such as diesel and kerosene, by about 11% to 85 cents per litre. In Dhaka, Sadha Madi, we are.
When it comes to petrol prices, there's no standard to speak of. My colleague Ramesh Ramachandran takes a look at the places that charge the most for fuel and those that charge the least.
Now, during the last 1 week, crude oil prices have reached their highest level in 3 years. It now stands at $80 per barrel. That's the reason behind the spiraling prices in India. But what are the trends across the globe? Here's a look at 3 of the most expensive nations and 3 of the cheapest countries for petrol. Interestingly, the world's wealthiest economies have the highest fuel prices anywhere in the world. Take, for example, Iceland. Where in Iceland, petrol costs 142 Indian rupees per litre, is the costliest country when it comes to petrol prices. This is because they have an excellent public transport system and private transport is seen as a luxury. Next in line is Hong Kong, where 1 litre of petrol costs 140 rupees. It's believed that citizens of Hong Kong use 0.49% of their annual income on petrol. Now, certain countries which should have abundantly cheap fuel purposely do not. Norway is a very good example. It's the world's most sophisticated oil exporter, and even though it could easily match the localized petrol price of a rival oil-rich country, Norway is the 3rd most expensive country in the world when it comes to petrol. Let's move to the countries where petrol is the cheapest when compared globally. Now, Venezuela ranks number 1, believe it or not, but a litre of petrol in the South American country cost a paltry 66 paise in Indian rupees. In India, it costs more than 100 times. Second on the list is Iran, where 1 litre of petrol costs a little over 19 Indian rupees. Currently, the prices are low, but experts believe that Donald Trump's scrapping of the Iran nuclear deal could result in a spike in oil prices. At 22.67 Indian rupees, Sudan is the 3rd least expensive country to refuel your car. The Northeast African country, which is one of the biggest economies in Africa, has a relatively low fuel price as compared to the prices in other African nations.